All right, what's up, guys? Happy Saturday. Chuck Silver and Jayhawk here to bring you the strategy for DraftKings and FanDuel. We have a fun one. FanDuel added the early game, Atlanta Charlotte. That's why we're live an hour earlier than usual. Really wish DraftKings had this game because I think it's an awesome game for fantasy. We'll get into it in a second. Jayhawk, how we doing? How's your Thanksgiving, man?
Yeah, dude. Awesome Thanksgiving. I think we both said we fell asleep during the Cowboys game. Pretty much a slow paced game there, but excited to be back here. Pretty or I don't know, mid-sized NBA slate here. Excited to break this down with you.
Yeah, it's like unlike the other slates we've had recently. I mean, the last two were gigantic because of the Thanksgiving break, but less options today. So we have I don't know, a little more difficult decisions to make, I guess. We're going to start with this first game, Atlanta Charlotte, since it's on the FanDuel slate only. And if you're playing the showdown over on DraftKings, I'm playing that as well. So we'll talk about that. Savon, don't recognize your name. Happy for you to be here. Appreciate you. What's up? Jose, is Potter from Utah getting any minutes? We'll take a look at Utah. Yeah, if he's starting again, we're going to be interested in him. King of all trades. Yes, sir. Jimmy, good to see you. Unicorn Love, it is money time, I hope. It's been a good couple of weeks, just no takedowns. What's up, Colin? Yep, all the regulars. Love to see you guys. All right, so I do want to start with Charlotte, Atlanta. Yeah, and that's the reason why. Micic. So he's been bad this year, but I think he's just the easiest play in DFS that we've had all season on FanDuel. I'm playing 100%, no question. Over on the DraftKings for the showdown, he's min priced. I don't see how you make a lineup without him. Trey Mann and LaMelo are out. He should have all the ball handling to himself. You know, Brandon Miller is going to help out too. Brandon Miller, also one of the top plays on the slate, but I think the FanDuel slate starts with Micic. Where are you at with this Atlanta Charlotte game?
Yeah, man. Unfortunately, one of my favorites, LaMelo Ball, is down here. So we got to look to Mitchich. I'm right there with you. We kind of talked pre-stream. This is almost like a no-brainer spot here for Mitchich. So going to be loading up on him. And then, yeah, love Brandon Miller as well. So great spot here for Charlotte.
Yeah, so Micic, we haven't projected for 23 minutes. I think that's off by like 7. I haven't projected for, I think I gave him 30, and that gave me 100% exposure. I gave him 32 minutes. So I just think this is a little bit too low. To me, Micic is just so easily a lock today. And I don't like to use the L word very lightly, but on FanDuel, I mean, I guess it's possible he fails, but he's going to play for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
30 plus.
I agree.
He took 10 shots last game and he only hit 3. Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, I don't even see him as needing to score points to get there. Like, I mean, we need him to score some points, right? But I mean, just get like 10 assists, dude, get a couple steals, and that's already value.
Yeah.
So I think we're both pretty into Brandon Miller. The model actually does not love him, though, as OF index. I would have expected him to be in the double digits, but he's actually not. 8,100 on FanDuel, 64% projected ownership. I like Brandon Miller. I don't know if he's worth 64% ownership on this slate, even without LaMelo.
Yeah, the one thing I will add on to that is it's a fantastic matchup here for shooters in general. So even, though the model doesn't like him, I think he looks really good here.
Yeah, I have a lot of Brandon Miller. I'm actually over that 64% right now. So, like, I'm not fading Brandon Miller by any means. I think it's kind of high. We do have other good players on this slate, and it's not hard to fit him in because if we have Micic in basically every lineup. Looking at the rest of Charlotte, so Miles Bridges is still out. Grant Williams is lost for the season. Nick Richards is questionable. It sounds like he was on the court warming up, so I kind of lean towards he plays, which, I mean, he's 4,800 and okay, Diabate 5,500. I mean, it's going to be kind of hard to get to either one now, right?
Yeah, man. We were kind of laughing. Diabate has been really good for them, but I mean, if Williams or no, was it you say Richards or Williams? Sorry, I always get this too.
Richards is in, or I think he's playing. Yeah.
Yeah. So if Richards is back, probably hurts Diabate a ton here. So just kind of monitor that news, I think.
Because the other problem is with it is there really aren't that many great centers on the slate. Like the most expensive one on FanDuel is John Collins, Walker Kessler, Brooke Lopez, Bobby Portis. And so, I mean, 18% seems kind of high for Nick Richards coming back in his first game, but on FanDuel, at least he can get there with a couple of blocks. So I don't know. I doubt I'll be at the 18% though.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. Just kind of worried about potential minutes ceiling here with Richards.
But we'll have to figure out which centers we are interested in FanDuel because it is probably the worst center slate I've seen actually all season.
Yeah, it's rough out there on FanDuel.
Another guy I wanted to ask you about who I called him the worst slate of all time, and then he played a career high 38 minutes, put up his career best game by quite a bit. To Jane Salon, projected for 36% ownership at 5,200. We haven't projected for 32 minutes, 32.7. He might be able to play a little bit more. What do you think about him today?
Yeah, so I was kind of with you with Salon the past couple of slates. He's not typically a fantastic fantasy point per minute guy, but I think with LaMelo out here, he should look a lot better, should get more shots up. So I do like him here. 5,200 isn't necessarily a great price point, but the usage should be more there for him without LaMelo. So I'm fine with it, man.
Yeah, because the thing is, I wasn't convinced about the minutes, but we've seen it 3 games in a row, so it's possible even we have his minutes projected slightly low. Not sure we can project him for any more, but with LaMelo out, everyone's out. I mean, they're comfortable running him. He doesn't look bad, so 5,200. It's probably the appropriate price for him. 36% ownership. I think it's high, but I'm not going to tell you not to play him again after what happened last time.
Nah, I agree.
I will just point out the model isn't picking up on anyone here being strong value. Micic, I do think he's underprojected. I think you could even add like 50% to his minutes here, and all of a sudden his value is 15, which still isn't like otherworldly considering the situation that he's in today. And then Josh Green is actually the highest value over on this team on FanDuel. So 4,300 Josh Green at 28% ownership. Is that kind of high?
Yeah, so Green's another type of guy. Like he's not a great producer, but we have to account for just all the usage LaMelo's giving up here. So I think he's fine at 43. I'm never typically a huge Josh Green guy, but I'll mix him in for value. I think he's pretty solid here.
Am I getting Josh Green on FanDuel? Yeah, I guess I'm with the field, so not like a jam, but I guess I don't mind it. Yeah, I mean, 30 minutes pretty consistently. It's the important thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's double check if we have any questions. Kate or Kyrie. I'll get to the other teams. Let's finish up Atlanta. So Atlanta, Bogdan Bogdanovic got ruled out. I think that's pretty much the only thing that we're looking at here. What do you like from Atlanta?
Yeah, so you kind of mentioned it. DeAndre Hunter, I think, is going to look a lot better here without Bogdanovic. So I think he's probably the number one guy we can kind of look to. And then the rest of these guys, I do like Jalen Johnson once again at low ownership. I think this is a pretty good spot for him. And then I think Trey's fun as well in tournaments. So definitely a lot of guys to look to. What were you kind of looking at here, Berlin?
So I'm not really treating Bogdan as out as affecting much since he hasn't played that many minutes this year anyway. And just plugging it in real quick, no one gets a boost with like Bogdan off the court. And so I'm just going to treat the Hawks like a regular team. I do like DeAndre Hunter. 5,800 seems kind of steep, but at sub 10%, I don't mind it considering how much ownership is going to go to the Hornets. I mean, I think that this team probably deserves a little bit more ownership overall. Not quite sure exactly who it should go to. Maybe Jalen Johnson, maybe Trae Young. But with as owned as the Hornets are, I think we want to get a little more exposure to this team as a whole.
Yeah, I agree.
And Jalen Johnson, I mean, I pointed out Brandon Miller's OF index wasn't double digits, like 8.4 versus 11.3 for Jalen Johnson for only a few hundred more. I mean, I'm going to have lineups with both of them together, but Jalen Johnson is standing out at low ownership. Trae Young's fine. He's a little more expensive. And then even Dyson Daniels has a higher OF index rating than Brandon Miller today at 6,900. No bogey. And so I think that these are guys that we definitely need to consider today, but it's just tough to, like, I'm trying to figure out who I like the most, but I think I just want more exposure to everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've always been on the Jalen Johnson trend, but he's up to 9K on FanDuel, so it's definitely not a lock and load price there at 9K.
Yeah, that is a hefty price, but I think that the 14% ownership kind of makes up for it a little bit.
Yeah,
it's a good spot against Charlotte. I mean, they are going to get Nick Richards back, so maybe they're going to go back to being a team we target bigs against.
Yeah, for Diabate, it was the can't target bigs, and now we're back to a normal Charlotte, right?
Right. And so just going to take a quick look at the DraftKings showdown for people that are playing there. I mean, you can do whatever you want because we're plugging in Micic at min price. I just don't see how you don't play him. I don't think it's necessary to put him in captain. I don't see him being the highest score on the slate because you can fit in Trae, Jalen Johnson, Brandon Miller. I mean, I guess we need a captain, but yeah, you just have to kind of have the freedom to do whatever you want here. So there are going to be chops. Maybe you want to do something a little bit different. But you have any more comments on the showdown?
No, I think that's perfect. Just kind of mix around those stud captains and play Mitchich, play Miller, and I think you should be golden there.
I mean, this is just this team is going to be duped 1,000 times in every GPP. But like if you're playing cash or maybe satellites or small fields, I mean, this is just the very obvious lineup to me.
Yeah.
All right, back to the main slate. All right, let's jump into the other stuff. Desmond, good to see you. Power, listening to a few pods lately. Thank goodness for you guys. I've seen you in the comments on some other shows. I only watch one other show, and I've seen you in the comments there. Appreciate you. Took 10 shots. Yep. Kate or Kyrie. Yeah, this is another big spot on the slate. Dallas getting a ton of exposure to Kyrie. I don't know how I feel about it. What do you think about him today?
Yeah, so both are interesting here. I think Cade obviously came back last game, should be second leg of a back-to-back here. Are you kind of worried potentially about minutes here for Cade, or you think he's a full go here on a back-to-back?
Cade, yeah, I think he should be fine because it didn't seem like there were any restrictions with him in the previous game that he played.
Mm-hmm.
33 minutes, so maybe it's a couple minutes down, but maybe. I mean, they did get blown out, so I feel like he would have finished the game. I'm not worried about it. I think his price is appropriate. I'm happy to get there. I like him more than Kyrie to answer the question from the chat.
Agreed.
Since we're on Dallas, PJ Washington has the highest OF index he's ever had. Projected for pretty decent ownership, but according to the model, that's actually a bit light. 7,000, 7,400 on both sites. PJ Washington, is this a jam?
Yeah, dude. I think a couple of slates ago, we did have Gafford out as well. He pretty much played the backup or part of the backup five. I love him here. Once again, the model likes him, so probably gonna be around the field or a little bit above here with PJ for me.
I still need to adjust some things, but it looks like I am actually under the field on PJ on FanDuel, but I'm with the field over the field on DraftKings. So move some things around, and I don't know. I might not get to the field on FanDuel. That 7,400 is pretty steep, but he looks phenomenal in the model. Really good ratings on basically every metric.
Yeah, I think he's a sharp player for sure.
I didn't even see Colin's next comment leaning Cade. Yeah, I think I lean Cade too, and we're gonna get him at lower ownership.
Yeah.
Washington probably an auto lock. Love it.
Yeah, I like it.
Let's jump back to Dallas. Yeah, we should talk about the other guys. Grimes, Waters, last man in.
Ooh, I would go Grimes, but what do you think?
Did you have a lean on Steph playing or not tonight?
I haven't really looked into the Golden State. I probably think he plays, but I haven't really looked at Twitter or anything.
I tried to search if he even participated in shoot around. I couldn't find it. If anyone in the chat knows, throw it in chat. Let us know. But I mean, if Steph's out, that obviously is going to open up everything on Golden State. And since that game is later, we should be able to take advantage of it. If so with FanDuel, if we don't use all our roster spots in this Atlanta Charlotte game, it's kind of like every other game is just going to be naturally lower owned because of it. So any late swap news we get is just going to be a little bit more powerful today.
Yeah, late swap always powerful for sure. Agreed.
Yeah, and a couple of those Warriors guys look really good on FanDuel. We'll talk about them in a moment. But to answer your question, I do like Grimes in this role that he's had, assuming that he's starting. We haven't projected for 27 minutes, 25%, and 9% ownership. These probably are pretty close to appropriate on both sides.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a solid value here, especially on DraftKings.
And then I guess we do have to talk about a couple more guys here. Najee Marshall and Spencer Dinwiddie. Najee's been on a scoring tear. Can he keep it up? I don't know. His price, I don't remember ever seeing him at a higher price than this, and he's still pulling crazy ownership. So maybe. And then Spencer Dinwiddie, 40% over on DraftKings at this very incorrect price of 4,300.
Yeah, I like both those guys. I do prefer Dinwiddie, I think, point per dollar between the two. But I think Dinwiddie here, no Luka once again, most likely. So I think he looks awesome at 43. And then I kind of want to hear your take on Najee because I think he's solid point per dollar here at 5,800. I think he's fine. I almost would rather go up to PJ here the way he's been playing. But I think he's definitely solid at his price here.
Yeah, it's just the problem with the 58 is it doesn't give us much room for him to hit a ceiling. And to me, these are already ceiling outcomes for Najee Marshall. I mean, he's averaging 30 fantasy points over the last four. Like, how much more room does he have to exceed that? Now, we don't necessarily need that ceiling outcome to win a GPP today. If Najee's salary makes the rest of your lineup work, he puts up one of these stat lines. It could work. It could be enough, but I don't know. I need to see why he's coming in so owned because I'm not getting that much, but I don't know. He's projected for pretty heavy ownership here. And then Spencer Dinwiddie, I'm kind of looking at him as the Mičić of
Yeah.
DraftKings, and I'm playing a ton of him as much as it hurts my soul.
Yeah, he's been awesome, man. He's been pretty much doing everything off the bench here for Dallas. So loved Dinwiddie here.
Mičić game time decision. Yeah, I looked into it. I expect him to play. He should be good. I mean, this dude's been a professional for like 12 years. He's over 30, just new to the NBA, so he has experience. He's a good player.
Yeah, he's definitely good.
He's not
Love.
going to miss his opportunity.
He should play.
What do we think about playing Giannis and Kyrie in the same lineup? I mean, there's definitely enough value to get to it. We didn't talk about Giannis much yet, but he's kind of sitting way alone at the top of the model. What do you think about that combo?
Yeah, so definitely in on Giannis here at 12K. So love him, but I think Kyrie probably not going to be as high as well, I don't know how high the field is, but definitely not as high on Kyrie as I am on Giannis. So love Giannis. I think Kyrie's still fine, but what's your take there?
I'm jamming Giannis today. Yeah, against Charlotte. I mean, if Nick Richards is back or not, it doesn't really matter. It's just, I'm sorry, they're playing against Washington. Still, same terrible matchup. Like we love these guys against Washington. Dame is second in the model. Washington's been really bad at guarding point. I don't know that things will be different with Malcolm Brogdon running the show, assuming that Jordan Poole's kind of going to play off ball more a little bit now. But Dame's a pretty decent pivot to Giannis, and he's also showing up very high in the model. We saved some money. But I love Giannis today, playing a lot of him.
Yeah, love Giannis here. And then we'll get into centers later, but I think Brooke Lopez could be sneaky as well in tournaments against Washington.
And then about that combo together, I'm getting more of it. Okay, so that's actually a pretty common combo for me over on FanDuel. Just looking at the salaries, it seems like it's a lot easier to fit in on DraftKings, Giannis and Kyrie. No, I have very few lineups with Giannis and Kyrie together over on DraftKings, but I have a lot on FanDuel. So if that answers your question, it's just it has to do with salary. I don't think that has to do with the players themselves. It's just really hard to fit those two guys on DraftKings.
Yeah, I'm right there with you with those two.
All right, let's take a look at. I see a couple questions about Philadelphia. Drummond revenge game. I mean, every game's a Drummond revenge game, right? But we've seen them start him and Yabusele together in the same lineup. Now, Paul George. Do you have a lean on Paul George playing tonight? He's questionable.
Oh man, this is tough. I feel like he probably plays here, but they could definitely play it on the conservative side and sit him. So I lean he plays, but it's Doc Rivers, and you know how bad that a training staff is and reporting stuff. So
Yeah, I'm building with him in. So if I built with him out, it would just kind of give boost to McCain, probably Yabusele. Kelly Oubre might actually be coming off the bench tonight. I'm not sure if we know for sure, but the industry's pretty low on him, only projected. Oh, he still is projected for 28 minutes, but I mean, Tyrese Maxey, McCain, Paul George, Yabusele, Drummond. I could go with that five
yeah,
to
for sure.
start. As for playing Drummond, 55 and 5600 at the 3% and 1%, I'm not going to tell you not to, but as disgusting as I said, like the centers are today, I'm going to be over this 3% and 1%, but he's not like a jam for me. But I will be over the field.
Yeah, pretty much on the same page there. If he starts though and George is out for some reason, I think he would become much, much, much better.
Mičić and Nick Richards are in. Thank you, Power. We'll refresh the model in a minute and see how that updated. Why no love for Maxey? I like Maxey. I think he's a pretty good GPP play. He is pulling the ownership on DraftKings. The 8K price is probably a misprice. FanDuel 8,700 at 14%. I think he's just like a regular GPP play. I believe I got slightly over the field. What do you think about Maxey?
Yeah, man. Maxi had a phenomenal game last game. I think he's too cheap here. I was on the wrong side of that game. I played a ton of McCain, but I think with Maxi full go now, I think he's probably too cheap here in this matchup.
So it looks like as of right now, I'm with the field on DraftKings on him, and then I actually had to bump him quite a bit to get with the field on FanDuel. So maybe it's harder to fit him on FanDuel. Just we have some pretty good value point guards.
Yeah, and I think I'll like him even more if we do get George out here, but we got to wait on that news.
Najee screwed you on Friday. Yeah, it's just it's going to be a tough one. I think I lean towards getting away from him though at the price, but again, we have the value to fit him in today. And I keep saying we have the value. I'm not saying what it is. Let's sort the model by value. It's a little different on both sides. PJ Washington is showing up as a top points per dollar play on DraftKings at 7K. That's definitely something we have to pay attention to. Keontae George, still a great play. His ownership's in check. Quentin Grimes looks like the first piece of value. Lindy Waters, Keyshawn George, no Kyle Kuzma, remember? Spencer Dinwiddie. Anyone else that's not showing up on the model here that you're interested in value on DraftKings?
Yeah, so not too much. I mean, Grayson Allen was popping for me a little bit. Maybe Bryce. I don't know. Sensabaugh is okay, but I think for the most part, it's probably just those guys you mentioned. And you did mention it. Lindy Waters would look even better if Steph Curry sat.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through. Well, if Steph Curry said, I think that changes the slate completely on DraftKings because all these, I mean, we'd have to look at basically everybody. And it changes a little bit on FanDuel too, but it'll be harder to swap because of the Charlotte game.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling through my exposures. And these are like the value guys I'm getting. I have Valanciunas in here too. He's 4,700 on DraftKings. I don't like centers against Milwaukee, but again, centers suck today. And Valanciunas can come in for like 4 minutes and be a value by halftime.
Yeah. What was I going to mention? I lost my train of thought. Keep going. Sorry. I'll remember it.
You're good. And take a quick look at FanDuel value. So FanDuel, the model's not going to identify Mijic as a value. So I don't know. Take that in mind. I think Mijic is a really good play today. Model saying no, but the model also has his minutes projected very low. We'll see if that updates after the model updates for Nick Richards being in, or just, I don't know, adjust the minutes, whatever. But similar players, Keontae George, PJ Washington, even at 7,400, is still showing up as one of the top points per dollar plays on FanDuel. So it's like, I think we have to pay attention to that, even though he's pulling the ownership. Colin Sexton, Josh Green, Quentin Grimes. A lot of the same names to Jane Salon from that Charlotte game. Is there anything different from FanDuel that stands out to you here?
Yeah, so I like the Keontae George call. He's been, very, very good. I think for the most part, I'm pretty much aligned with those calls, though.
Why is Daniel Gafford more expensive than Lively? Is Lively not starting anymore? Yeah, power algorithms based on usage and performance. Nice. And KD. Yeah, let's talk about KD. A couple questions about him on Phoenix. Is his price still dumb? They fixed his price a little bit, 87 and 9,200. Modest ownership. I think he's a fine GPP play to me. He doesn't stand out. And, I mean, he's not a player I'd necessarily want to fade either. Do you have a different opinion?
Yeah, I think he's pretty much fine here. 12% is probably the correct ownership here. So I'm fine mixing him in, but I don't think he's like a jam or anything.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of neutral on him. I mean, the model thinks he's okay. Same with Devin Booker. The model thinks he's good. So these guys are kind of just mix-ins. Anything else on Phoenix that you were looking at?
Tyus Jones, let's talk about him real quick. He was picking up some steam. Do you have like a hunch on him? I wasn't really, I didn't know what to do with him.
I'm exactly with the field on DraftKings. I have 21% right. If the slate started right now, over on FanDuel, 3%, but every point guard is going to be lower on FanDuel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess I think he's fine. 5,600 is an okay price. As for DK value, model thinks that he's the best points per dollar play on Phoenix, followed by Yusuf Nurkic, who, again, it's a bad center night. This could be a pretty strong center play at 4% owned on both sides.
Yeah, if he's in there, and I think he's fine at 4%.
And I want to look at the other side of this game because one of the value plays that's popping up for me right now is Trace Jackson Davis. OF index is terrible. DK value not that great considering how cheap he is. FanDuel value bad. Pulling no ownership, his minutes have been very volatile. They're going up against Phoenix. I mean, I know Phoenix isn't happy with Nurkic every night, but they've been playing him. I wonder if they're probably comfortable playing Draymond against Nurkic for some minutes, but Trace Jackson Davis, I mean, if he gets this 20 minutes, he's going to look like a really, really strong play with how weak the centers are.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of TJD as a player overall. So if he does get up to 20 minutes and they use him in this matchup, I think he's a very good low on shot there. So yeah, like that. But particularly if he gets the minutes here.
It just feels like we're playing a GPP within a GPP. Like we have to hope he stays on the court, gets on the court, and that he does well in those minutes. So if he's starting tonight, I'm probably going to play a bunch of him. If he's not starting, I think I still want to mix him in because he'll be low owned, and there aren't that many 4K centers that we're probably interested in. So see there.
Center is very rough today. Even on DraftKings, there's not really a center I love either. So it's definitely a tough position.
Oh, I missed Nurkic being questionable. Yeah, Nurkic is on the questionable list, as is Bradley Beal. So Mason Plumlee would look pretty strong. This would probably be the best center play by far if we get that news. So if you're not using up your center spot in the first couple games and you're able to use it on Mason Plumlee starting in place of Nurkic if he gets ruled out late, he's probably still going to pull ownership, but it's going to be so much lower than it would be if we had the news right now. Like this would be like a 50% owned center if we knew he was starting right now.
Oh yeah, and especially lacking center value or center plays as a whole. Yeah, I agree. So I think I'll probably leave enough room to late swap, but I still probably will try to get some Plumlee just in case. Nurk said too.
If the Milwaukee game's a blowout, who would we go to from the bench? So it's like a 15-point spread. It's right around where we can start projecting blowout, but are you talking about the bench from Milwaukee or the bench from Washington? Probably Milwaukee, right? I mean, beyond Giannis and Dame, who are you looking at on this team?
Yeah, so kind of briefly touched on it. I think Brook Lopez is another center we can mix in at 7%. Biggest against Washington. It's kind of been a theme all year for me and for us at Occupy here. And then, off the bench, Gary Trent's picking up 9%. I'm kind of just meh on that. And then, yes, I think for me, probably Dame, Giannis, Lopez. What are your do you have any other favorite plays here?
Nope.
Yeah.
No. I'm getting to a little bit of Taurean Prince, but it's like I'm not planning for a blowout here because the players on Washington that I'm comfortable playing, I feel like we're just going to play them anyway. Like the blowout obviously helps them, but I like them even without the blowout. And then for Milwaukee, do you really want to boost any of these guys hoping to get the blowout run?
I don't know, man. It's so difficult to try to pick out these guys off the bench. So maybe, I don't know. I don't think so, man. I'm probably not going to go that deep in terms of figuring that out.
I don't mind your Brook Lopez call, though. That's not a bad tournament shout under 10%. I know his price is kind of up there, but there's not a clear top center play today, in my opinion.
Yeah. The one concern I do have with Brook is he doesn't really get down in the paint. He more shoots from the three-point line. So maybe this is not the spot, but I just saw that him against Washington at 7%, and eyes perked up.
Just get 6 blocks, man.
Yeah.
Then I was talking about this with Smitty earlier, who's going to guard Giannis, and it's probably Bilal Coulibaly. Bilal's good, man, but he's no Torrey Craig when it comes to Giannis stopping. No. You're nervous about Nick Richards? Is he going to get starters minutes? Is he going to be on a minutes restriction? So the thing with Nick Richards is I'm pretty how do I pull up Richards? Showdown. His minutes went up from what we were used to last year before he got hurt. And so I have no idea. Hopefully we get word on some type of minutes restriction. But, I mean, they know that Diabate is good now, so I can't imagine them still running Nick Richards out for 30, 33 minutes in his first game back. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of am aligned with the model here. First game back, I think they probably limit him to around 15 to 20 tops, I think. So, yeah, I probably would see him on a minutes restriction. But if for some reason we get a report or something, he's full go, I'll change my take on that. What do you think?
We haven't projected for 11 minutes. So
okay, perfect. Even less.
I feel like we can project him for 20 though. I know I'm not projecting him for 11 in my
it's gotta be more than that, right?
Yeah, I gave him exactly 20 just to be done with it. I think I still have the 28 for Musa too. Yeah. So 28 for Musa, 20 for Nick Richards is how I did it. I'm not really getting to either of them, a couple percent here and there, but
yeah,
I don't know. If we get word that Nick Richards is I just don't see what coach's comment could lead us to believe he's playing big minutes. But if we somehow get that news, I don't know. 20%.
It's a lot, dude. I agree. It seems like a lot.
It's a really good game environment against Atlanta, but it's a lot of ownership.
It
Because
is.
imagine like we get that Nurkic news later, and you can't swap in Mason Plumlee because you played Nick Richards.
Yeah, 20-minute Nick Richards or 27-minute Mason Plumlee. I'd much prefer the second round.
And just to take away like any biases or opinions Jayhawk and I have, let's say we have Nick Richards projected for 20 minutes. Let's even give him 22. You can literally just double the FD value. So he'd show up at 10.4. His OF index is 5.4. It's like, it's still bad.
Yeah.
So just play Salon. Yep. I think that's about where I'm at. Salon, Brandon Miller, and Micic.
Just jam Charlotte.
Yeah. And Josh Green too. 4,300 is a good price. Do we like Salon? Yeah, I've turned a new leaf. He's been good 3 games in a row. I guess he's good now. But I think the 32 minutes could be kind of a low projection. So even though his price is up a little bit, the ownership's there. It's just he's shown that he's good enough to stay on the court, and they're so depleted that he probably just has to play.
Yeah, man, he's going to play a ton. I think he's a fantastic play.
Pat Connaughton, man, this is a guy who I loved like mixing in previous seasons, but I'm not sure it's a thing anymore.
He's been like, I don't know, the Bucks have kind of been hesitant to run this guy, a bunch of minutes here. So what's your kind of take on him?
He's played 20 minutes 4 games in a row, which is really good. It's a really good matchup. What was his ownership coming in at? If he's low owned, I actually don't mind it. It's not a bad call. Connaughton, we don't even have projected for 10 minutes, which is kind of odd.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, we have probably projected for like 8, so our minutes projection is definitely going to be off on him. Did I just miss his name? Yeah, Pat Connaughton. That's not a bad shout. Probably don't mind it if you really need a low owned play. Potter going to start tonight for Utah. Yeah, this guy was a rebounding machine in his start last time. We don't have him projected for minutes right now, though. John Collins was out last game, right?
Yes, I believe so. Let me double check that.
Yeah, so I don't think Potter is going to be in play today unless for some reason he starts again. But because I think that they might have ran with Johnny Juzang in the starting lineup one of those games. But Sexton, George, John Collins. Oh, Laurie's back. Yeah, no, Potter's out of play if everyone's back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even these value guys, like maybe Drew Eubanks could be worth a couple percent since center's so weak. Are you looking at anything else on Utah?
Yeah, so with pretty much everyone healthy here, it's kind of difficult to, I don't know, to mark anyone. We mentioned Keontae George. I think he's solid. Maybe Kessler. I know he's been pretty bad, but 6,300, another mid-tier center I think you can mix into your pool. Yeah, so probably Keontae, Collins, and Kessler marking it. I think they're all fine. What's your kind of take with Utah here?
Yeah, I'm basically with getting to the whole starting 5. Sexton, I kind of want a slight fade, even though his ownership is already kind of really low. And then Keontae feels a little bit high, but I don't hate it. It's just Lauri Markkanen's back. He's going to take up the usage. He hasn't really been the Lauri that we're used to this season. And Keontae is kind of getting better, I guess, as it's his second year in the NBA, but I don't know. It feels kind of high because remember how much of our ownership is already going to Micic on FanDuel at the point guard spot. So do like Kessler, though. Like Kessler a lot, especially the 6,300 price feels pretty good even with these two back.
Yeah, man, he's had a couple tough matchups too. I feel like this is probably a good bounce back spot here.
Capella or Diabate on FanDuel, same price.
Ooh, I would definitely say Capella for me. Well, it's never mind. Diabate, Capella, that's tougher. I'd probably say Capella. I don't know, it's close. What do you think here?
Before I looked at what the model thought, my answer would have been Capella. We haven't projected for 23 minutes, Diabate for 29. I think this is a lot more volatile than this 23 is just because Nick Richards is going to be back today. Diabate, though, only projected for 1% ownership versus Clint Capella 20%. Does Diabate outscore Clint Capella 1 in 20 times? Probably, yeah. But I don't know if that's a good enough reason to get to Diabate. Model likes Capella, one of the better points per dollar value centers over on FanDuel. The other ones that it likes, Draymond Green, John Collins, Nurkic, Lively, Gafford, Diabate, Sarr, Brook Lopez, Kessler, Jalen Duren, who we haven't mentioned, but at 3 and 2%, he's only going to play 24 minutes, but he's had a couple blow up games.
Yeah. Duren's fine. You said Dern, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, just making sure. I kind of forgot they're on the slate. Yeah, I think he's fine. Not a huge fan though.
I just don't think I've ever seen a worse pool of centers to choose from on a 4 or 5 game
So
slate.
yeah, so bad.
To answer your question, I'm pretty sure the answer is Capella.
Yeah.
Bagley with Kuzma out, he should play 20 minutes. Has he been playing 20 minutes? Flat
Um,
min, center only, which would be awesome. Take up that center spot. I don't see him playing 20 minutes though, even
yeah,
with Kuzma out.
barring blowout, I don't really see Bagley playing a
It
ton.
would have to be like a crazy blowout for Bagley to play 20 minutes. We don't even have him projected for 10. So uh, if that's like a spot that you think that everyone in the industry is wrong, I think it's okay to go for those if you have a reason to. You got to have a reason to believe he's going to play more minutes though, because I don't see anything that
Yeah.
would get me there.
I have a question though. If you were, I know we're probably not going to do this, but if you were projecting blowout, would you still be fine playing Giannis, and would you correlate him with Bagley? Kind of to answer that question.
Oh no, I'm not considering playing Bagley tonight at all.
Okay, I was just gonna ask because I'm not either. I was just
But with Giannis, if Milwaukee blows out Washington, you got to think Giannis is a big part of it. Giannis or Dame anyway. And
yeah,
so I'm not worried about it. And then, like I said, with the Washington guys, we're going to have interest in Keyshawn George. Jonas Valanciunas isn't affected by blowout because he's only projected for 18 minutes anyway. I mean, I'm confident Keyshawn George would be on the court either way. Beyond that, do you have an opinion there?
maybe they could run Sar maybe a little bit into the blowout. He's
Mhm.
kind of one of the young guys, but the rest of these guys probably not. Kaishan for sure. I agree. He's young. I think they'll probably push him.
And then Jordan Poole is projected for 27% ownership on both sides. He burned everybody last time, right?
Yeah.
3. Jordan Poole playing next to Malcolm Brogdon. I think I have this up here. Yeah, talk to me about this guy.
So I actually kind of do. I know it sounds bad. I typically am not a big fan of Poole, but I actually do kind of like Jordan Poole here in tournaments. Guards against Milwaukee, especially the ones that can shoot, I think are going to play here. So I'm definitely going to leave Poole as a mid tier play here for me. So I think Poole and George both look good here. I think the way Milwaukee plays drop coverage, I think they probably succeed here more times than not. So I like him, but what's your take here on Poole?
I don't want to like him. I like the price. I like the situation. I don't mind him going against Milwaukee with Kyle Kuzma off the court and Malcolm Brogdon on the court. It is okay. It's only 9 minutes, but Jordan Poole has a very, very high usage rate. Would be number one in the NBA. In a larger sample, so with Malcolm Brogdon off the court, Jordan Poole's usage rate is 31% with no Kyle Kuzma, which is elite. With Malcolm Brogdon, it's still very high, but it's such a small sample that I don't think we can really do anything with it.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about him having a poor last game, if that's anything.
Yeah, and then there's also no Kuzma, so you should be more shot attempts as well.
And then Jonas Valanciunas has a really high usage rate with Kyle Kuzma off the court and Malcolm Brogdon on the court. So maybe that's something that Brogdon looks for Jovel in the minutes that they've shared. And then Brogdon in 49 minutes with Kuzma off the court this season, he has a 25% usage rate, which is very good. And I've been dogging on Brogdon on the stream. Model is never going to identify him as being strong. Still like terrible value on both sides, even though we haven't projected for 26 minutes. But as funny as it is, I'm interested in playing him today because now his ownership's in check.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much on the same page. I haven't been playing Brogdon just because it's a minutes thing for me. He's not playing north of 30. I feel like his ceiling is probably pretty capped at his minutes. So I think he's still fine if he stays sub 10, 15%. Like him there. If he gets any higher than that, probably a no-go for me.
If I'm not mistaken, Milwaukee drafted him, right?
Yeah, yes, I think so.
He won 6th man of the year when he was a rookie there. I don't know, revenge narrative, whatever. I don't mind Brogdon like I did on the other nights. Let's see. Martin from Charlotte. Yeah, I guess we kind of glossed over him with some guys out. He should get a boost. And I mean, we kind of overlooked him. The field's overlooking him. He's 5,300, which is tough, but 10% ownership is, if this is like one of the pivots you want to make from one of the other more popular Charlotte guys, I think it's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. Definitely just pivot off the other guys. I agree.
Thoughts on Kessler tonight? Like him? It's probably my favorite play from Utah, actually, on DraftKings at the price.
Yeah, really sharp play with Kessler. I like that a lot.
Bilal could be a sleeper tonight, as I say to myself every slate as he loses me money. 11 and 13%. This is probably the appropriate price for him, so I don't mind getting to him. He's a guy that I'm usually interested in getting over the field on, and like I mentioned, he's probably the guy best suited to guard Giannis tonight. So he doesn't really get in foul trouble. Minute should be there.
Yeah, man, right there with you. I played this dude time and time again. Every time it seems like he shoots horrific from the 3-point line, but I think he's fine in tournaments again. No Kuzma, so
I will say, like, this actually feels like more ownership than I would expect for him today, even though it's only 11 and 13. It feels kind of high.
yeah, it's definitely still in play for sure.
Love Poole tonight. Yeah, he's gonna be okay. I'm hoping he comes in under this 27%. It's just his price is really good, so optimizers are gonna jam him in.
Yeah, I think he looks great. And I'm gonna say this now, and we're gonna come back in Discord and tell them how bad he shot.
Does Charlotte Atlanta game stay close with no LaMelo? Let me just refresh this and see what the spread updated to with the updated information we have. It's 5.5. I have no reason to think this would be a blowout. I'm not adjusting anything in my exposures for that.
Yeah, should be close here. I'm not too worried.
I think this says more about how bad Atlanta is more than it says anything about Charlotte, because Atlanta should be double-digit favorites here. I agree.
Yeah, for sure, man. They're just #bad on defense.
Jordan Poole versus Bucks defense. Yeah, man, dude, this is going to be a day where he either comes out gunning and has like 25 fantasy points by the end of the first quarter, or he has 2.5.
It's the perfect GPP play.
Patrick Baldwin homecoming game. Is he on Washington? No, is he Patrick Baldwin?
He didn't get drafted. He didn't get drafted by Milwaukee, did he?
Patrick Baldwin. He is on Washington. I don't see anything here.
Yeah.
Would be interested in. Poole is chalk, but he should have a good game if they dodge the blowout. Hawks versus Hornets, good high pace game. Yeah, man, I really wish the game was on DraftKings. Be a fun one to mix in there. Fading all centers other than Yabusele and Kessler. I don't know if I'd fade all the other centers. If you're only making a couple lineups, though, yeah, let's do it. Yabusele, 5,400 power forward center. I mean, he's getting the minutes. I feel like they like him more than Drummond. So with Paul George being back, I feel like Drummond's the one who's going to get his minutes affected, but we'll see what they roll out with for the starting lineup.
Yeah, I agree.
Poole homecoming game. I mean, chasing Dinwiddie tonight? I think so. The minutes are too strong and his price is too incorrect over on DraftKings. On FanDuel, I don't think we have to. I mean, he's in my player pool, but I'm not like jamming him on FanDuel. But on DraftKings at 4,300, it's just the minutes are so strong right now with the team that they're rolling out there, and he's playing with some confidence. So even though he's shooting better, I mean, he still got there shooting 1 for 12 in the 28 minutes a couple games ago.
Yeah, man. On DraftKings, he just looks really good to me. So pretty much on the same page.
Duran hits the bed every play. That's the thing. If you're playing guys with Duran, you have to be comfortable with the games that they just fail, because most people aren't, and so they're never going to get Duran. It's like you got to be comfortable with days they fail, so you can play him on the days that he puts up 41 at 6K. Yesterday it didn't matter because we had other centers go off, but today, if he does this, like, I would be absolutely thrilled with that.
Yeah,
if he's in my lineup, that is.
The one concern I've had with him recently is his minutes. They've been running Stewart a lot more, closing with Stewart. So if he does get up to 30 minutes, I think he looks pretty solid in tournaments, but that's a big if.
Maxi or Cade on FanDuel. We have Cade up here in the model. Maxi's, so the model gives the edge to Cade in terms of points per dollar value. FanDuel value actually slightly ahead with Tyrese Maxey. So if you can do something with that $600, then Maxey. If not, then just play Cade.
Yeah, on FanDuel, I think the price disparity is I'd rather just play Cade.
Yeah, just pay the extra 600, because on DraftKings it's a much bigger difference. Tyrese Maxey's only 8K versus Cade's 98. So on DraftKings it's definitely Tyrese. 13 DK value versus 11 DK value.
Agreed.
DeAndre Hunter. Happy you mentioned this guy again. Yeah, because without a bogey, for some reason this guy is really good.
Yeah, and I think he's cheap enough where he can put up a big score at that price. So
I have the like I mentioned earlier, though, no one gets a usage bump without bogey, because why would they? But DeAndre Hunter in this situation, he's league average usage. So I wish he was a little bit cheaper, but at 7%, it's okay to take some shots. Cade and Maxey in one lineup. It's just tough because we have some really good point guard value, and so maybe you'll have a slightly different lineup construction from the rest of the field, which could be good. But I don't know. It's going to be kind of tough for me to fit in two pay up guards. What do you think?
Yeah, so I think it all determines based off what side, but on DraftKings, probably maybe for me, I think on FanDuel for sure, definitely not both. DraftKings, maybe you could, play both, but definitely not FanDuel.
Who, Cade and Maxey? The problem is they're both point guards, and I'm playing a lot of Spencer Dinwiddie on DraftKings today, a lot of Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole has shooting guard eligibility, though, which is great. And then, Tyus Jones at 5,600 was a play. Keontae George, I don't know if he had shooting guard eligibility or not, but it's tough. But like I mentioned, you will get a different lineup construction, so it could be a piece of leverage in large field tournaments.
Yeah.
If Steph sits, how big of a bump do we give pods? So looking at the usage, he actually gets no bump in usage, which is really bizarre. And the minutes, he's played 353 minutes without Steph on the court, 18% usage rate. It actually goes up by 1%. So his regular usage rate is 17%. But intuitively, pods gets the biggest boost with Steph out, right? But it's more of just because of the minutes he plays rather than the usage that he's going to absorb.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that too. His usage just stays the same. He's just going to play a bunch of minutes in place of Curry. So yeah, I agree. I think he's definitely a way better play, but usage rate, yes, stays the same.
The play I'm most interested in if Steph is out is going to be Jonathan Kuminga, 4,900 on DraftKings, projected for 18% ownership, 5,700 on FanDuel, projected for 8%. His usage rate without Steph Curry on the court this year in 250 minutes is 31%, which is, I consider 30% elite, 20% is about league average. I think LaMelo's number one in the NBA right now, like 37%. So Jonathan Kuminga, 31% usage in 248 minutes without Steph Curry. We only have him projected for 21 minutes right now, but if Steph is out, he should play more minutes, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be my favorite play from this team. Him and pods, I guess.
Yeah, so you nailed it. Kuminga had his ups and downs in the beginning of the season, but I think here he should be really solid at 4,900. So, or not 49, I messed it up, but I think he's a solid play as well. So agreed there.
And then Andrew Wiggins, without Steph on the court, 22% usage rate, and Buddy Hield, 26% usage rate, very strong, especially at 4,700 on FanDuel. He's going to pull more ownership than this if Steph gets ruled out, but we're going to get that news after lock. People are going to have so many roster spots taken up by this Charlotte-Atlanta game that Buddy Hield, like everyone's just going to come in lower owned. So anything you can take advantage of if someone gets ruled out tonight, I think is worth it. Steph and Nurkic sound like the two guys that would make the biggest difference, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely Nurk too on DraftKings. I think Nurk's a huge piece there.
Oso Iguodaro. If KD's in, Brad Beal's in, Nurkic is in, it's just tough. If Nurkic is out, Mason Plumlee would become chalk, but Iguodaro would be playable. Right now, he's probably not playable. We don't have him projected for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's a decent shout. I believe on the last slate, Nurkic side, I think Iguodaro was in play. So I think he's in play. I don't know if he's like a smash play, but definitely in play there.
Jose Alvarado will score more fantasy points tonight than when he's on the slate. Not sure I understand.
When who's on the slate?
Is Yabusele starting? I don't know. Did we get a starting lineup? We got to build a dummy and get out of here. It's cool, though. We have an hour and a half till DraftKings locks. FanDuel locks in about 25 minutes. Hornets are starting Micic, Josh Green, Brandon Miller, Tajane Salon, and Diabate. So, I don't see how we can play 20% of Nick Richards on FanDuel.
No, that seems insane, right? There's no way.
And then the Hawks are starting normal Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Risa Shea, Jalen Johnson, and Capella. So with the Hornets, I think that's about what we expected. I don't think I was expecting Nick Richards to start.
Yeah, off an injury, I think Diabate should have started. So
I wonder if the field is expecting that, though, because the model actually had 23 minutes for Richards. I feel like this just adjusted right now, though. This should adjust again. If you want to see the update, it probably won't be done before the stream ends, but that's why you should sign up for the site. It's little as $7 a week, gets you access to the model, daily plugs. It's pretty good value. You play DFS regularly. I don't know. Charlotte summary. To me, Micic is just the super lock on FanDuel, not considering not locking him. Josh Green's a top play. Tajane Salon is a good play. And then Brandon Miller, I think he's a great play at 8,100. It's just the FanDuel ownership percentage is insane, and the model really is not identifying him as a good play today. If you want a reason to fade, the model's telling you it's perfectly okay. I mean, look at all these guys that are $2,000 cheaper that have a higher OF index than Brandon Miller. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, definitely on FanDuel, definitely okay to fade at that ownership, but he, in terms of cash though, I mean, he seems like the safest Charlotte play outside of Mitchell.
Oh yeah, if you're playing cash, I mean, you just plug in these guys. Like this is your lineup if you're playing cash, and it's a pretty strong start there.
Yeah, for sure.
Fave center on FanDuel. I was hoping this question wouldn't come up. What's your answer?
Oh man, this is tough. Let me look at this real quick. I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna say favorite low on play. I'm gonna say Walker Kessler, and then favorite chalkier play. I'm gonna say Clint Capella. How about you?
I don't know. I think I'm just kind of hoping Nurkic is out late so I can play all the Mason Plumlee.
That's a
I
good answer.
mean, because right now I have like 13% of 6 players.
Yeah, it's so difficult to nail one down.
I have to change my stuff, but I mean, Gafford, Lively, Capella, Drummond, Diabate, Nurkic, and then I have like 6% of Duran that I already had to try really hard to fit in.
Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, let's just have Nurkic sit in so we can just play all of the Mason Plumlee here.
Just going by the model, Draymond Green is the top rated center on FanDuel, and we usually want to play these guys in the power forward spot because we don't want to take up a center spot. But today I don't care. I'm cool taking up my center spot with Draymond if that's what it takes. It's like one of these centers probably has a good game, but I don't know. If we get this Mason Plumlee news, I don't care what his ownership is. It's not going to be enough. I'm just going to swap all to him.
Yeah, below 4K, man, if Plumlee's hot, 100%. Not 100% Plumlee, but like Plumlee a ton.
Is Cody Martin a good play? I don't think he's a good play, but I don't think he's a bad play.
Yeah, he's very average to me.
Favorite players by position. I'm probably not going to be able to do that, but I could just scroll through my stuff and highest exposed real quick. On DraftKings, point guard, Jordan Poole, Tyrese Maxey, Tyus Jones, Spencer Dinwiddie. And this is not in order. Shooting guard, Lindy Waters, Jordan Poole, Malcolm Brogdon, Quentin Grimes. Small forward, Najee Marshall, Keyshawn George. Not that much of anyone else. Power forward, Giannis, PJ Washington, easy.
Yeah.
And then center, I have no idea, man. I mean, interest in the Sixers guys, I guess. The Dallas guys we got to consider. We could just do like what I talked about with Draymond Green, play like John Collins at the center. Giannis fits at center pretty easily. So
center is just mix in a bunch of centers and hope you get the right one. And then obviously if Nurkic fits, you play all the Plumlee.
All right, so let's build out a quick dummy because we're already running over time, but I thought we were talking about some good stuff, so I wanted to keep it going. You cool with Giannis in the dummy and then Dinwiddie?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What else? Who are the next like first players in?
Probably one of PJ or Dinwiddie for me.
So we got Dinwiddie.
Oh, sorry, PJ. Let's go PJ.
Let's go PJ and let's Jordan Poole.
Yeah, I like Poole a lot.
I don't want to do anything with the Warriors yet, but remember, I've said it 6 times. If Nurkic is out, Mason Plumlee's the best play on the slate. If Steph's out, a few guys on the Warriors are definitely going to take a good bump. Swap as much as you can. What's the model say?
Model likes Quentin Grimes and Keontae George. That's 2 of the next DK values. Or Lindy Waters.
I'm going to put in Quentin Grimes, but I'm not going to put in Keontae George since we already have the guards. I was super high on Keontae George the other day when he went off too, and I'm just not. I don't know. Something about it today. His OF index score is really good. Value is really strong.
Yeah, he's solid. I don't think he's a crazy good player or anything.
I'm kind of into Keyshawn George at 4,400. I know the ownership is kind of high at 29%, but remember, there's no Kuzma today.
Yeah, I love George and Poole here. So yeah, love Keontae. Or not Keontae, Keyshawn. I always mix those up.
Is it Keyshawn?
Something like that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could just plug in John Collins at center, 3,900 for guard. It's not really enough. Could move Giannis to center. Center's tough. I feel like we should plug in one of these cheap centers. Like if we got Mason Plumlee, 3,900, put in Giannis, leaves us 7,200 for a point guard, move someone around. I mean, we can get a Colin Sexton, Keontae George, Malcolm Brogdon, just upgrade one of the other positions.
Yeah, that's kind of my lean is playing Plumlee right now at center and just hoping we get some news to break our way.
Draymond is too expensive. I mean, I think his price is 69.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, it's a little more than I'd like to pay. His usage rate 15% without Steph on the court, so it's not like he gets a bump. I think he takes a dip without Steph. I'd rather play him when Steph's on the court.
Yeah, and one more thing about Steph before we get off here. Steve Kerr did say he went through shoot around. I saw that on the DK app. So
okay, nice. So maybe none of that stuff that matters anyway.
yeah.
Small forwards week on FanDuel or on DraftKings. Yeah, maybe that's why Najee Marshall's popping up so much. I mean, my small forwards: Najee Marshall, Keyshawn George, Quentin Grimes.
Oh yeah, one more thing with Dallas. How many are you maxing in your 150 set?
I don't put those. I'm not putting a rule today. I'm scrolling through. I have two Dallas guys in my single entry: Najee and Spencer Dinwiddie, and then most of my lineups look like they have 2 or 3 Dallas players. I need to get PJ Washington in there, though.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Thanks for hanging out for this super long stream. The FanDuel slate starts in about 17 minutes. DraftKings, we have a little bit over an hour. Yeah, any final words, Jayhawk?
Let's hope Nurkic sits and it's Giannis time. So
yeah, Jayhawk will be leading the Discord live. When are you doing that? Are you doing that now or for the DraftKings slate? We kind of ran over a little bit here.
I think I'll probably hop on. Like, let's see. I'll probably hop on now and then go through the both slates or like in 5 minutes or so.
Okay, and you'll just talk through the FanDuel lock.
Yeah.
Nice. If you guys want instructions to join that, they're in the description below. Is Lindy Waters viable with Steph in? Last question, because now it kind of sounds like Steph is playing. Lindy Waters has a really strong DK value, and we do only have him projected for 22 minutes. So, yeah, Lindy Waters is probably the guy that stands out to me. And I mentioned Trace Jackson Davis is very risky, but if he's starting, we should have some interest there.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
See you guys. Good luck.